From a sharecropper's son to an esteemed baseball coach for Southern University, a road that was potholed with poverty, racism, and pain. These obstacles should have kept him from the top of his game. Instead, he fought back with everything he had and won. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope against all odds chronicles the life of legendary head coach Roger Cador, the 14-time SWAC champion with 11 NCAA regional appearances. He's a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He's a member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Hall of Fame. He's a prestigious inductee into the Southern University Hall of Fame. And now, he's a distinguished member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Purchased today, Against All Odds. Against All Odds can be purchased on Amazon, Audible, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and Google Play.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient. They're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador. Of course, I am Perry White. He's the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Roger Cador. I hope you guys have had a great week. It's been a week since the last time we saw you, and a lot has transpired, but nonetheless, it is the summer. We know the kids at home. They eating up all the food in the refrigerator, Coach, and outside, well, these days, they don't really go outside much. They're on the electronic devices and everything else, but nonetheless, here we are, headed into July almost, and you about to be a very busy man coming up.
Yeah, coming up pretty good, which is good. In about 3 weeks, I guess, we've got the Swingman Classic that we will be doing in Atlanta. And then after that, I go down to Vero Beach and do the Hank Aaron invitation. And then I do something else after that, so I'm getting busy, which is good.
When you start to get busy, and of course you're getting a little older, how do you manage your days to make sure you don't overwork yourself or overdo it for yourself?
I'm not going to overwork myself. Trust me, with what I'm doing, there's no way I can overwork myself. It's not possible. You know, I really didn't overwork myself when I was coaching. I mean, in the beginning, I probably did. I did manual labor, sort of like the coach from Murray State cutting grass, and but I had the hoe and the rake, and we had to build a field from scratch. So I had to do things, and one of the reasons, in order to get my kids to understand the value of what we needed to do, I had to do it, so they could see if coach is doing it, we'll do it. You got me? And that was the psychology behind it. Let the people see you do it, they'll do it too.
They call it lead by example, and you know, for me, I had to learn that in life as I got older. You know, one thing about a leader is it's different from just barking out orders, but people will really follow behind you when they see the leader saying, "I don't have a problem getting down doing the dirty work myself as well." Because that's showing, look, I'm not above it. If you able to do it, I can do it too, and why not work with you to do it? And people tend to follow you a lot more when you lead in that direction.
And we had fun, we talked, we laughed, we had told jokes while we were doing it, and it reminded me of the old days when I was in Ventress, Louisiana, working in the field, and the people were singing. Even though they weren't gonna make any money, they were singing, they were happy, they kept us going, kept the spirit going. That's the way they say it.
Like bonding sessions. It's a chemistry that's there that overall we understand we here for the same common reason. Let's just make the best out of it by coming together.
And we had to get it done if we wanted to play on the baseball field.
Yeah.
There was none. So if we want to play, we've got to do it.
You know, looking at that same way that you're talking about in your career, because Against All Odds, that's your book, and I recommend anybody out there that you purchase the book and get a chance to see the story of Coach Roger Cador and how he became the legendary coach and, most importantly, the man of God that you are. But you never gave up. And as you never gave up along your journey, many doors closed. But as those doors closed, no matter why they closed, you found a way to go to another door and find a way to open it. Talk about just that type of spirit in that journey, because we all know on this level, a lot of people give up. A lot of people say that's too much work, or I'm not getting the support, or they don't believe in me. But you never took no for an answer.
Well, I didn't really know how to be honest with you. But once I understood that those young people, those young men, depended on me to make things happen. Kids used to tell me, Coach Owens, there's nothing you can't do. Well, that's a hell of a high platter to be on. When kids think there is nothing you can't do. There's a whole lot I can't do. But in their eyes, I could do a lot. It was so much that needed to be done. So if I did 2 inch worth of work, it was a lot because there was so much that needed done. You got me? So it appears to be a lot, but in reality, it wasn't. And the only thing that mattered to them, it was a lot. Coach, there ain't nothing you can't do. And they were depending on me moving that speck of dust out of the way to make things better for them.
Let me ask, because as you go through your journey and you do those things, some people, for them to support you, want you to do it their way. And their way may not line up in the vision and the direction that you saw, what you wanted to build. When you saw that, how did you then pivot to say, you know what, I'll find another way?
Well, that's a good question. That's a leading question. I know why you're asking it.
I'm trying to get some wisdom here.
More than the wisdom you're trying to get. Well, there are a lot of people wanted me to do it their way. Some people I did it their way because it was going to be the only way, as long as they weren't asking me to break the law or hurt someone. Those are the boundaries I wasn't going to cross. Hurt someone, break the law for them. I wasn't going to do that. But if it was some kind of way with what they were asking me to do, and I saw the good in it. One thing I used to do, I had wise men, the older men I used to consult when it was a little too much for me. I would consult the older people. Young people today won't do that. I did. Ask for their opinion. They gave me their opinion. And I didn't just go to black men. I went to white men that were older. See, when you're trying to make something happen, you need information. You need as much information as you could get to get this, to meet this challenge you're faced with. And that's what I did.
Yeah, I look at it, you have to be prepared, especially if you're going up to level up. And it's just like an interview. You don't show up to a job for a business and don't know anything about the business, right? You come in prepared. You show them, hey, I've done my research. I know a thing or two. I may not know everything, but I know a thing or two about the company, about the business. Hell, I maybe even did enough research on the person that's interviewing me, to give them a little tidbit to have something that's relatable. But, I think that is what makes your career so special because, of course, we look at Southern. We all understand low resource institution. As we look across the SWAC and HBCUs as a whole, we understand low resource institution. You're not going to have everything readily available in front of you. Every time you go to administration, you ask and say, hey, we need X, Y, Z. They're not necessarily going to say, well, how much and when do you need it? They're going to sometimes pull back and say, well, that's something that's not feasible for us right now. But at these institutions, they make us better because we have to learn the hard way sometime in terms of how to get things done. And if that means the leader having to get down and do it themselves, like you said, and to lead by example, that's just what it is.
I remember one Sunday afternoon, I'm on the field working at Southern. And this guy he was a professor in the science, and he must have felt really good about himself. He's probably said, I went to all these universities, I have these degrees, and I've done my work. And this coach is on his field working. This guy had the audacity to stop his car, get out of it, and came and talked to me and said, hey, what you're doing is you're setting a bad example. And I said, really? I mean, I didn't pay too much attention because this guy obviously don't know baseball. He didn't know there were many before me did what I'm doing, you got me? That's what baseball coaches do. And he told me that I was setting a bad example. I should not be out here working, and that's not good. And I said, sir, I appreciate you, but I have to get it done. If we're going to use this place, I have to work. My players are working. And the guy just left. I never saw the guy again. I think I know who he was. He was a biology teacher, so I didn't get to deal much with them. But he had an issue with me, working on the Sunday, working on something that I plan to use to help make me more successful and help my kids to enjoy success. See, what he didn't understand, I wasn't going to be able to go to the classroom like him and find a microscope in there where he could use to do his research. I'm using microscope. I don't really know what that is.
Totally understand.
Huh?
Yeah, I understand exactly where you're going with it. Yeah.
But for me to enjoy success in my profession, I had to do what I was doing, or there is no success. And the key is, it looked small in his mind, what I was doing, but it was big in the mind of my players, my young people, because they helped build that thing, man. And the road is not a short road. It's a long and winding turning road with a lot of difficulties in there, failures. That was the road I was on, and I felt to some degree I understood that this road was a tough journey, you got me? What made me understand it? I know Southern wasn't going to come by, no matter what I had done, dump a bunch of money and say, hey, go ahead and do this, get this. That was never going to happen because the mentality of the people in charge didn't fit that, you got me? Plus, I wasn't a part of the, what you call those people?
The boule?
The bourgeoisie,
The bourgeoisie.
whatever. I didn't fit. I wasn't part of that. I was a loner to the first degree, which was good for me. So, you know, and it's good because they didn't have to give me any advice.
and it never stopped your growth. It never,
Yeah.
it never deterred you from the vision, and just you were motivated. And one thing you can't stop is a motivated person.
Can't stop a motivated person. Unstoppable. Unstoppable. Even when a chancellor told me there would never be a baseball field on this campus.
Like, what kind of stuff is that to say to somebody who, you know, like, that's the type of mindset that I think a lot of times, and then at the time, you were a young guy.
I was young.
You know, in
1987. Could have been 86. But he fueled me. The light was running a little dim. Boy, he flamed it. It got flame in it when he said that. And all I did was smile. See, never let a person, let them let them feel that they got you angry and they stop you and they stumble you. I only smiled. I smirked, to be exact, and just shook my head in a nod. And because I wasn't going to let that moment go, and it happened. And I think the God that I serve and worship rewarded me with something really good a couple of days later. We beat Cal State Fullerton. And he gave me a chance to go back to this man who just told me that I would never. I was able to take the paper from the National Guard, put on his desk and say, sir, can I get you to sign this so we can do some work on the baseball field? Gentleman couldn't look at me. All he did was put his head down, sign the paper, gave it to me. And I said, I really appreciate you. You see, to not try and embarrass your superior, sometimes when they deserve embarrassment, sometimes when you lose, you actually are winning. People don't understand that. In that man's mind, he was winning, and I was losing, but I was winning, he was losing. If you reverse the spin, you got me? Because that's what it turned out to be. And I never tried to embarrass that guy. Never once tried to embarrass him. He's dead now. I hope he rests in peace. And
you know what I have to learn in life with that, what you're saying, you got to pick and choose your battles.
you have to.
You got to pick and choose them wisely. You can't win every battle.
You can't win. I'm going to lose most of them.
Yep. You know, but overall, and growing, as for me, as I'm getting older, maturing, especially as a father, I've had to learn that at a young age, maturing, that, you know, because you're so full of pride.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like everybody got you messed up, man. But when you pick and choose your battles and you realize even in a loss, it doesn't take for you to have to bash. Just dust yourself off, take the lick your wounds, and come up with a new strategy.
Well, being a father and a man is two different things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you an example. A son somewhere in the state of Mississippi, I'm going to use Mississippi. It's not in Mississippi, but it happened. The story is true. I'm going to just use a different state because Mississippi has a history of this kind of mentality. The kid, they had color, white restroom. He didn't look. He went in a white restroom, and there were 4 white men came out there, and they were arguing with his daddy and threatening him. And the kid come out the bathroom, don't understand, and he told his daddy, I'm disappointed in you. You're a coward. You didn't fight. You didn't defend. The father, being the father that he is, he looked at the odds and said, son, today I decided to be a father rather than a man. What you talking about? That wasn't being a man. You let him talk about us and do all of this. He said, if I had been a man, I would go try to fight him, and them 4 men gonna beat me up. Being a father, I had to make sure I protect you so you could live on. What a great piece of advice. Because sometimes you have to be a father and not a man when it comes to putting yourself in harm's way.
That's right.
And what was he going to win? A few licks, but he let, by allowing these people to win, by him being a father, he was able to get out of there without either one of them being harmed. That really made an example in the young man because he realized that as he grew up, his daddy was a lot smarter than he was.
Because, hey, you get into that fight, they take your life. You're no longer able to be a father nor a man.
There you go.
You know, and I think, especially for our communities, as we see the rate of the crimes that take place, especially the homicides, I think that is a big part of it. Everybody, a lot of guys that look like us don't take the time to think about the future instead of just the now. And that now is the pride, not picking and choosing your battle, feeling like you can win every battle. And unfortunately, when you turn on the news and you see this and you see that, you find out there's a lot of guys losing battles that they jumping in thinking that they gonna win.
They ain't gonna win. I know my daddy, there were a couple of situations where I felt that way about him. Why didn't you? I didn't tell him he was a coward or nothing. I was wondering, why didn't he do something? Why didn't he? All he wanted to do was make sure. I did recite this later. All my daddy wanted us to live, to have family, and live a life. He knew he couldn't win it. Because how are you gonna win? If you go to court, you're gonna lose. The judges are racist. They're gonna find you, that wasn't the police gonna arrest you. They ain't right. So I mean, it's just, he understood that. So he let a lot of things go over his head or under his feet. He just, on the side of him, he just let that go away in order for us to survive and have a change in life. And I am so happy, I can say that loud and clear, that he used good judgment and not try to fight those people who was going to take his life and probably my life too.
And I'm glad you said that. We'll talk more about that after the break, because I got a question I want to ask, especially being successful as you are. But like you said in your book, Against All Odds, it wasn't easy. That's why the odds was against you and you were able to find success. But I want to talk more about that, because maybe it can inspire some people out there. And so for those out there watching, be sure, hey, go run to the bathroom like Coach, get a drink of water or something. We'll be right back. You guys stay tuned. More Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White.
Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. BRAC, we're more than a playground.
Cats down by 58 with 1 minute left.
Hey, where's everybody going? This game's not over. So we're not the best. Our kicker stubbed his toe on the ball, and pretty sure our mascot has his costume on backwards. But this is our team. No matter what.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador, Against All Odds. Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against All Odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against All Odds. Get yours today by Cador & Cador Publishing. You are now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, we're back. More Chopping Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I'm Perry White, and it's the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Roger Cador. And as you just saw in that last spot, Against All Odds is the book that details the life and the story of Coach Cador and his journey of being successful. And Coach, in that first segment, we were just talking about, when one door closes, another door open, and you was talking about like how your father and many other black men during that time in which life was hard for the black man, but being able to navigate and pick and choose our battles wisely. And for you, just being a young black boy growing up and everybody telling you no and giving you every reason in the world of saying why no, you didn't take no for an example. I mean, you didn't take no and run with it. You found a way to find a way, if that makes sense. You found a way to find a way.
I think I did. Some kind of way. I don't know how. I often think about it. How in the hell did I do it? Mm-hmm. Because there was no avenue you could journey into literally. So sometimes I just went out and did something. Just try something, you got me? And some things worked. I didn't try a lot of things because, again, you could get in trouble.
You could ruffle some feathers.
You could rather, what you call it?
Ruffling feathers.
Ruffle some feathers. And that was a no-no. You don't want to get in trouble. So made sure we didn't get in trouble. Did everything our parents said to do and what the law says to do. And followed that, you know, I never saw the inside of a jail until I got older. But and you know, it was just a little different. It was a little different time.
Give me some examples because, and take me back during that time because, of course, I'm younger, and a lot of happened during that time I hear from family members around that age, or a lot of it I have to read about it. But for you to have lived in that era, what were some of the reasons of no for you that they were telling you why you can't do this, why this won't work? What were those no's that sounded like?
No was no. Just like Bo knows Bell, no was no.
Yeah.
They didn't explain.
Yeah. It wasn't no because you're black, no because you from here, no because your folks, and none of that.
No, it was just no, you can't do this. No, you can't have that. And that was about it. And to a large extent, you were taught not to question
Got you.
people.
So there was no need to explain why I said no because I said it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Somebody could be costing you your life and they say, no, don't go there. Well, they could save your life, but you can't even ask why I can't go there. You got me? I mean, so that's the kind of stuff. So there wasn't a lot of wiggle room to ask why. You had very little wiggle room. The system was tough, you know.
As life goes on, how did you adjust when the no's became yes for you and you realized I can, I will, I'm going to?
Yeah, that's you know, once I really started to go to school and began to learn, began to read a little, began to enjoy a measure of success, and some lights came on.
That's a great feeling, isn't it?
Great feeling. Them lights were turned off for so many years. When the most of your learning took place from the 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 12 years old. That's when the majority of your learning take place. Them lights were turned off to me. Except we went in the field, I mean, but that was it. There was no learning during that time from traditional learning. I learned from listening to older people, talking to them. My biggest advantage was my grandfather used to run a ballroom, and he was a great storyteller. And I used to go sit by his house under a big old oak tree. We used to sit under that. And he would tell me stories after stories. And I soaked them in. And that's how I knew I had a chance, you know, because he told me. He said, you see all them other boys? You see what they're doing? And he laughed. He said, you're going to be all right. Because you're in here talking to me, trying to get information how to stay out of trouble. You'll be okay. And to be honest with you, I believed in him because he's the only one that told me I would at that time. You got me? Outside of my mother, those, you know, other than that, there was no one telling me I would be okay. And even when I went to school, the teachers, because I was so far behind and didn't learn all of the things because I didn't go to school, couldn't learn them, you got me? They threw me in a corner literally and didn't care. So I had to work my way through what I was hearing and learning and, you know. Well, there was one teacher, a math teacher, who took a liking to me. She said, boy, you know your math. You're good in math. Well, I could figure math out in my head. I didn't need to write it down. I could figure it out. You got me? And so I became really good in math. I'm not good in math now because the math they do now ain't the math we learned.
You can still count that money, though.
I don't know about that. Oh, no. Oh, math, man. So, you know, and the thing that helped me a lot, and it hurt a lot of people, but it helped me a lot because I was able to face the real reality of those doing students, classmates. They laughed at me and teased me unmercifully, because I didn't talk right. Remember, I was speaking Creole before I went there. So I was struggling speaking English. And I wasn't using verbs and noun and everything correctly. So they laughed at me. And rather than quit, you know what I said? They're laughing because they're right. I'm out of place here. I got to do better. I got to get myself together. I mean, that's the hardest thing to do, is tell yourself the reason they're laughing at you and teasing you is that you don't fit in here. Because it ain't your fault, it's because the system threw a curveball at you. You got me? And I use the word curveball now, but that's what the system did. The system almost got me. Damn it, they failed, but they almost got me. They put some stumbling block in front of me. And that's what's the goal of the system. Make sure that black boy don't get a chance to do nothing. And, but I got through it.
That system's still in place today, and unfortunately, a lot fall to it. They give up when you don't have that motivation around. Like you said, you had a grandfather that told you, you gonna be all right.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he laughed when he said that. When I say laugh, smile.
Yeah.
You know.
It was hope behind that smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he knew he didn't get a chance, and he saw his grandson with an opportunity. You got me? He knew it was something about me. Hell, he had a bunch of grandkids, but I was the one, you know.
And it goes back to what you said, because I can remember, you know, I grew up in a single parent household, my mother, but there was a village around me in terms of a community that, you know, when you grow up, there's many other families that you're not related to, but at the end of the day, they're family. I'm always welcome at their house. I grew up with the grandkids, the nieces and nephews, and the influence of those people. But I still had an environment, because when you're young, for the most part, like you just talked about, you want to fit in. What seemed to be cool may not necessarily be cool. It may take you off track of the right decisions, the right path, but you want to fit in. You want to do what everybody else. And it happens to young people all the time, because everybody want that acceptance most of the time when you're young, because that's what make you seem to get the friends and be cool. But as I had a rift there for a while where I was going down the wrong path, and I didn't see a future when it came to doing the right things. I thought everything was a shortcut to get by, to get over. You know, I'm thinking short term. I'm not thinking about it, the big picture. But in the process of that, it goes back to what you said. The moment you get that first taste of success, of accomplishing something or doing something, and doing it the right way.
The right way, yeah.
Not cutting corners, nothing illegal. And it's like, damn, I am capable of this. And you get that little taste of it, and then you get motivated, because as I look around now, because I'm getting that taste of success, no matter what it was, I'm looking around realizing I can outgrow this situation. I can outgrow the mindset of the people that's around me, that's bottling me up, thinking it's only supposed to be one way. And that happens so often in communities across the country, whether big or small, where that mindset of everybody having to think that one way. And if you can get a little taste of success and start to grow from it, you realize I can grow away from this. And there's so much more out there for me to learn and be a part of. And it starts to grow and grow and grow. And that turns into, when we talked about starting this segment, you can't stop a motivated person.
Hard to stop them. You know, all those guys I grew up with were so much better than me in anything we did. Everything. I was They used to laugh at me. I mean, I was terrible, Marty. I was the worst of the worst. But I was a decent person. I was a good person. And those guys liked me, but I was never what they were. They were always ahead of me. You got me? But I wasn't jealous of them. You got me? And pretty much that changed as I got older. As I got older, things began to change a little. And it changed because of confidence. Started believing in myself a little. And I knew I was catching up with them because they weren't reading. Every day I ran a mile to get a newspaper and ran a mile back.
That's determination.
That's determination like you would never believe. You know, and who would do that when the paper man passed right by your house and could, excuse me, give you the paper? I didn't do that. I let him pass, and then I ran to the general store and got the newspaper from the lady at the post office. She took an unusual look at me. And she saw me doing that every day. She saw me mailing letters to some people. She saw me, there was only one, they had what's the telephone that was on?
The payphone?
Yeah, only one payphone. And I used to go and be on that payphone. She took a look at that, and she seen something she ain't seen in nobody else. White or black kids, you got me? White men or black men. I was the only one doing that. So what's so funny, she had a bunch of racist brothers and brother-in-laws and daddies. So one day she found the opportunity to get me one-on-one, away where they couldn't see us. And she was looking to make sure they weren't nowhere around. She said, hey, don't let them kill your spirit, your dream. Don't let them kill your dream. And then she left. It's in my book, I put it in there. She said, don't let them kill your dream. It was a white lady that told me that. And she couldn't talk too much because she didn't want her brothers and them other people to see her talking to me. When the hell is she talking to this black boy about? You got me? So she wouldn't let him see her talking to me.
And that would put you in danger.
Probably, yeah. Because they already was thinking by that time I was a radical because I was picketing. That's what we call them, picketing. I don't know what they call them now, where they march, still wouldn't hire blacks to work. And so we went and marched there. All the young people, because the fathers and mothers had to work. That's when they're doing party line phone. You know about that. And we had about 6, 7 people on one line. And my mother was worried as could be. She said, son, them people talking about getting you. They talking about harming you. And I never worried about it. I said, I ain't worried. I didn't know any better. You got me? And so the good thing that happened, the summer ended and we had to go back to school. It was like all of this was playing to get me off of that doing line. You know what I'm saying? Had to go to school. And so I got to go to school, and my mother said, let me tell you something. When you come home, you being black, nothing white, don't have nothing white on. And I want you to, whenever there's a car coming, I want you to lay down in the ditch. No problem, I did that. And that's what got me through. Because it's a one horse town. That's the best way I can put it. No red light, No signal light, no nothing. One road in, and very few cars. There was no black people had no cars, let me put it that way. If a car was coming, you could bet 99.9% it was a white person. Black folks didn't have cars. And we ain't talking about that long ago, you got me? So I would lay down in the ditch and let the car get down the road pretty much, and then get up and make sure I look at my surrounding and made it. Because I live about, Venture's about 5 miles from New Roads. So I had to get from New Roads to Ventures. And I made it home every night safely.
That's the epitome of Against All Odds. And as you hear this story, I recommend that you guys out there pick up the book today. Get an opportunity to read it, because it's so much that you can learn from what Coach had to deal with as a young person. And it's relatable to a lot of people in their lives, because so many people have to deal with roadblocks and barriers, and some may not be to the extent of that, but at the end of the day, a roadblock and a barrier is a roadblock and a barrier.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of people accept them because they don't want to deal with the hassle of not accepting it. You got me? But for me, it was unacceptable, non-negotiable. Once I made up my mind, you got me?
And I'm the same way with you, Coach. Hey, put a mountain in front of me, I'm either going to build a tunnel to go through it, or I build a road to go over it, or we'll find a way to go around it.
Really? Wow.
Ain't that what you did?
Not necessarily. I didn't build a road through the mountain.
How you got around the mountain?
I don't know how.
It baffles him to his day. I got to the other side.
How in the hell did I get to the other side? You know, I certainly didn't build a road through the mountain, and I certainly didn't build a road over the mountain. How did I get over there? I probably won't build a road around it. Probably.
That's what you did. All right, everybody out there, I hope you guys continues to enjoy the show. We got to get ready to take a break and pay some of the bills, so stay tuned. We'll be back with more Chop It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White, all right?
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Cats down by 58 with 1 minute left.
Hey, where's everybody going? This game's not over. So we're not the best. Our kicker stubbed his toe on the ball, and pretty sure our mascot has this costume on backwards. But this is our team. No matter what.
Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. Breck, we're more than a playground.
Hey, it's Jimmy Ott with ESPN Radio. Both Coach Roger Cador and I have gone to Dr. Dale Police for years for all of our dental needs. Dr. Police uses the latest technology in preventive dental cleaning, digital x-rays and night guards, restorative tooth-colored fillings, porcelain crowns, complete partial dentures. Zoom whitening, you can whiten teeth 10 shades in as little as an hour. Dental emergencies for infections, broken tooth, or restoration when things just go wrong. Most insurance is accepted. Dr. Dale Politz and Dr. Larry Oob, available Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., 926-6899, and PollitzDentistry.com.
All right, everybody, we're back going chopping it up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, as you see on the bottom of the screen, I am Perry White, and this is Roger Cador, having a great conversation today. That was going back to his book, Against All Odds, that I recommend you guys pick up today and get a chance to see the story and the success. And with success, it's not always easy.
People think it is. Success is sometimes more difficult than failure.
Yeah.
Because to be successful, you got to work through a lot of failure, a lot of difficulties to get to where you want. Failure, you fail, you just leave and walk on. So you don't have to extend any more energy, you know what I'm saying?
And some people give up when the first sight of failure. They throw their hands up and they lay in the dirt and that's it.
Yeah, but to succeed, you're going to have to grind it, man. It's a grind.
Dust yourself off and try again.
That's why you have so few people who are successful. It's too difficult.
Talking about success, let's look at the College Baseball World Series. Have you been paying attention? Look at a team like Coastal Carolina took on Louisville on yesterday. Coastal Carolina is a team that's hot. They rolled on 11-3, 26-game win streak right now. That's something I want to talk to you about. I haven't seen this in my time in watching and covering college baseball, but a team that ran through a conference tournament, a regional, super regional, and still hot headed into a college baseball World Series, man. Coastal Carolina is a team right now I don't think anybody wants to see. 26 in a row.
Right. They're going to be tough for LSU, but LSU is playing so damn good right now with the pitching and the hitting and obviously the defense. All of those things come together, but the key hitting. Now, baseball people, true baseball people, say you'd rather be good than lucky. But what happened against Arkansas? When the ball hit the left field, the line drive, I'm thinking he catching that ball. It hit him on the shoulder.
He normally makes that play.
It's easy.
He normally makes that play. It's just that one moment, it was like,
But that ball was hit hard. It smoked. And then to top it off, the hit against the ball right off the second baseman glove, literally 2 inches. So you need a measure of success like that, what you call good luck, to be successful. So they got it.
LSU got the victory 6-5 in Game 2 yesterday. They have advanced to the College Baseball World Series championship. They'll be taking on Coastal Carolina, who will be riding into that thing on a 26-game win streak. And then you look at LSU, they have not lost a game in this World Series up in Omaha, but magical last night. And that was one of the things about that I think captivates the nation of liking LSU nationally. I mean, that's one thing about LSU, the national footprint of the market. When the lights are bright, everybody's watching, and it seems like they're back up against the wall, and there's no way they find a way. And that magical moment is what gathers and gains new fans. It what create the excitement behind when you see LSU and somebody's anywhere in the nation. I know about that school, and I think last night seeing their backs up against the wall, 5-3 and chipping away, and in the ninth inning to win the way that they won. That's a magical moment. And when you talk about magical moments, man, that's what sports is all about.
That's what it's all about. You know, and LSU, which is not a large institution, it is a Power 5 conference. But, you know, they have fans all over the nation. You know, the fans are crazy behind LSU. And it's got that mystique about itself. You know, Bayou, Cajun cooking, you know, alligators, frogs. They got a little bit of everything, Marty. I've never eaten frog to my knowledge. And damn it, I better not put one in my mouth, Marty, don't you?
You know, while you were at Southern, on the outside looking in, you know, Southern baseball with you there had that mystique. People say that. I hear this all the time about Southern baseball and Coach Cador on the outside looking in. You may not have felt it being here, but you had that mystique about you with the amount of championships competing for and winning, sending guys to the league, the type of games that you were winning when it was unheard of for a lot of teams on the HBCU level. You had that mystique, that magical esque about yourself and the team on the outside looking in.
Well, I was trying to continue the tradition that Southern baseball was known for under Bob Lee, Hall of Fame coach, Emory Hines. Those guys had something about them. Southern baseball was unique.
In which the stadium is named after, Lee Hines Field.
Right, and remember that in the state of Louisiana, Southern baseball won the first college baseball national championship, 1958 or 59, one of the two. They won the NAIA World Series in Nebraska, of all places. It was in Nebraska, so they had the history, and of course Lou Brock and so many other great players, Pete Bonds and Lee B.B. Richards. All of those guys who played there was so good. So I played there. I can say I'm very proud to have played there. And we, you know, that was the thing that everybody wanted to beat us. When we show up in town, they all wanted to beat us.
They say it's the S on your chest that make you the best.
Oh, okay.
That's Southern.
You know, I remember when I was coaching, we would go to play Grambling. There was something going on at Grambling. The players for Grambling. I think the night before they practiced, choreographic, when people practice to do a show or dance or what they do. Choreography. I really think they could do that. Practice that before we play them. We come to town. Why do I know it? Two things happened that struck me. I said, damn it, this is what they do the night or two before we come to town. They practice things to do. If they do something, they're going to show us up. One was 1987. We playing Graham at Pete Goldsby. A big catcher I recruited out of New Orleans. Martin was his name. He hits a home run in the 8th inning, something like that. Oh, the stand blew up in the guy. Well, you know, this couldn't happen spontaneously. It had to have been playing. The little short catcher from East St. Louis, Illinois, was sitting on top of the dugout, first base dugout, and he ran from on top of the dugout toward home plate and pointed on home plate for Martin. He pointed, he ran off that end, and this was how he was pointing on home plate. And that's when Martin did the Pee Wee Herman. I mean, how could that happen? They had to be playing for that, right? I mean, that's no way they could have done that. And the Big Martin did the Pee Wee Herman, and the fans went wild. They loved it. And I didn't know what Pee Wee, and I asked my players, I said, what is that? Oh, Coach, he's doing the Pee Wee Herman. Rather than get mad and try to hurt somebody, I accepted it because I said the crowd, the fans enjoyed it, and that's what they came to see. In black baseball, fans came to enjoy themselves, and they got the enjoyment.
The excitement. All right, everybody, let's get ready to take our last break here, and we'll be right back as we close things out. Stay tuned. More of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient. They're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Hey, it's Jimmy Ott with ESPN Radio. Both Coach Roger Cador and I have gone to Dr. Dale Police for years for all of our dental needs. Dr. Politz uses the latest technology in preventive dental cleaning, digital x-rays and night guards, restorative tooth-colored fillings, porcelain crowns, complete partial dentures. Zoom whitening, you can whiten teeth 10 shades in as little as an hour. Dental emergencies for infections, broken tooth, or restoration when things just go wrong. Most insurance is accepted. Dr. Dale Politz and Dr. Larry Oob, available Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., 926-6899, and PolitzDentistry.com.
From a sharecropper's son to an esteemed baseball coach for Southern University, a road that was potholed with poverty, racism, and pain. These obstacles should have kept him from the top of his game. Instead, he fought back with everything he had and won. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope against all odds chronicles the life of legendary head coach Roger Cador, the 14-time SWAC champion with 11 NCAA regional appearances. He's a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He's a member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Hall of Fame. He's a prestigious inductee into the Southern University Hall of Fame. And now, he's a distinguished member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Purchased today, Against All Odds. Against All Odds can be purchased on Amazon, Audible, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and Google Play.
All right, everybody, welcome back for Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I'm Perry White. This is Roger Cador, and before we get ready to get out of here, Coastal Carolina versus LSU, college baseball national championship is going to be a hell of a game. Coastal Carolina, 26-game win streak. LSU, pretty hot themselves.
It should be a good game. Both teams are playing well. And, you know, the advantage LSU have is that they've been there before. Carolina was there in 16, I think, Coastal. So, but LSU's got, and they were there, they won it in 2003. So they got a lot going on. This is a really good game. They're both well coached, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Jay Johnson has been doing a great job getting his team back in a position. Of course, LSU fans love championships, and now being able to play in a championship against a worthy opponent in Coastal Carolina that I think nobody should take lightly. 26-game win streak is nothing that just happens overnight. That's a hard feat to get to. So, and for everybody out there, for all the fathers, you know, Father's Day was Sunday, so is it happy belated Father's Day? I guess I could say that. But hope all the fathers out there had a great Father's Day, and you know, continue to do what you do for the young people. Continue to be the kings and the leaders for our community, because we need it and the young people need it, especially the young males. They continue to need to have to look up to a male to understand what it is, so one day when they're in that position, they can be the great fathers themselves. And for everybody out there, man, we always enjoy having you guys tuning in and watching us. Of course, you can search Pelican Broadcast in your app store and be able to keep up with us. So for myself, Perry White, my man Roger Cador, I hope you guys have enjoyed the show, and tell a friend, tell a cousin, tell anybody to tune in to more of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White.